big development time. Everything about this chapter laid out just says this is going to take a very large turn for the next arc, and it's not really just in terms of kingdoms invading, demons doing something, some new character is showing up to do all these things. It's more of what exactly is going to happen from Asta, from his decisions, because this is now going to pretty much go into a forced like theory that people were going with. A lot of people were saying that Asta's probably going to have to leave and somehow like wait for his name to be cleared or try and find proof over the influence of the demon that was causing all these problems. But now it looks like he's going to have to leave. It's not going to be like, oh, let's sneak out and go after it. Oh, I'm going to go try and find proof. It just looks like it's going you know pretty dark direction for him, because it just is similar to right now in Fire Force. I won't go too much into spoilers, where the main character and everyone pretty much had to turn away from the whole organization in order to do better. And now Asta, it's pretty much gonna have to go down a similar line, because throughout the chapter they end up going to the Magic Parliament, him and Sekri, because they want to go talk over about like it's the demon's fault, it wasn't anybody else's, because it was either they're going to be used as a scapegoat for this problem that was all happening, or they were going to blame all the magic knights that were taken over by the elves because they have no proof of the demons or the elves. But the unfortunate thing is that even though we had Julius, and Julius being Julius, a bro, he was super nice, just an all around good guy. That doesn't change the fact of the overall structure of the kingdom was, very corrupt. There was a lot of political prejudice. There was a lot of discrimination. And within Black Clover, their world, it's not like, you look at the long history of our world. There people are discriminate towards a whole myriad of things, whether that be like country of origin, religion, or whatever it will be. Within Black Clover, it's always been having to do with your magic and where you came from. Because for the most part in the series, like it doesn't matter if you're weak or strong. If you depends on your nobility, whether or not you're from a big important family, your bloodline, and then after that, there has been like showings of depending on your level of magical power and like strength, some people have looked past that to a degree. It always will come back to that point of your bloodline, but between those 2 points and getting to a serious kind of like situation where they're gonna have to like look down where you came from, it's like, okay, well, you're this rank of the magic knights, you're this powerful, you blah blah blah, your magical quantity, blah blah blah. But it doesn't go well for Asta, obviously, because Asta, though he is very useful, and it's unfortunate for him because, anti-magic. Like, you'd think that, I mean, you can't really compare it, like, to their perspective to ours, like, just looking past him as a main character in a story, him just having anti-magic makes him a very, vital asset in a lot of combat situations and, any issues with other countries. But they're not looking at it from that perspective. They're looking at it the situation of pretty much what happened, and they're mostly just focusing on his birth and the unfortunate case of their prejudice against the peasants. But Asta, while getting there, him and Sekir immediately are handcuffed, and this isn't going to hold Asta. I knew it wasn't going to hold Asta, but that's not really the point, because it was more of like the situation he's in. Because really, their handcuffs, I mean, even if they included like, oh, these have magic stealing properties, like, well, Asta doesn't have magic and he's physically very strong, he's probably going to be able to bust out of these fine. And we don't know which characters they have within the Magic Parliament that would be able to stop Asta. But even if they couldn't stop him, like for say, it's just Kira. Maybe Kira is the only powerful person. I'm not Kira. Damnatio. Damnatio is clearly strong. We saw how broken his magic is, but it wouldn't work on Asta, at least the way that it was presented so far. And because of that, they don't seem to potentially possess the strength in order to prevent Asta if he, fights back. But that's not really the point there, because this isn't like some group that's just like, yeah, we're gonna, we're gonna punish you or whatever. This is the parliament of the Clover Kingdom. This is their, their big house of politicians and criminal justice people. The fact that Asta, no matter what he does here, it's gonna have like very large consequences. Because again, these aren't just random folks. These are people that are in direct control of the kingdom. The only person above them would be Augustus, because Augustus is the king. So him fighting back here would just lead to a lot of like heavy circumstances and a lot of unfortunate results for him. But it looks like it's going to go down that line, and that I'm very curious about, because, like I said, Asta, it looks like he might have to be forced to leave the country for X amount of time. Actually, one of the things that I've really enjoyed about Black Clover is the author, because the author obviously comes from the newer generation in comparison, like the last big generation. You had a lot of like stuff um, that were very influential, and one of the ones people always kind of go towards for like, well, not only Black Clover but My Hero Academia. I'm sorry if my cats are too in the background. They've decided that they like each other now. They're playing a lot, so never mind. In their series, there are things to compare, similarities, but there are also like straight like points where if you compared like what led up to it and then you compare the results, they're completely different. So seeming like the first time Naruto went into either, you can either count his nine-tailed box chakra like form at all, or just like one tail, or whichever one. He was not in control during those points, whereas Asta, when he got his, it seemed like he wasn't in control. In one of those like berserker moments, like similar to when this creature from within took over the main character. And Asta was in control the whole time. Or you look at something like when Ichigo would back in the Soul Sayer, whenever he would put on the Hollow Mask. Actually, I think he only took control during that fight with Byakuya. But again, getting off topic. But with something like this, I was kind of thinking of like when Naruto left to go, like learn Sage Mode and stuff, and he came back because of someone like Pain. I'm wondering if we're gonna get something like that, because maybe Asta has to leave, and he's like seen as this horrible person. They kind of like brand him a criminal and try and blame everything on him. But once something happens, another big attack on the Clover Kingdom, maybe that's when Asta comes back, and he's maybe done an arc with on the Diamond Kingdom, or maybe he spent some time in the Heart Kingdom, and we just see him like show up on scene and maybe like clears his name by defending everyone, because obviously he fought back against the Word Devil and everything, but only a handful of people know his influence on that. They don't like, even though that Asta, they won because of teamwork. Though Asta was a big key player, he wasn't like a huge character in terms of like strength. Him and were formidable, but like, we already saw just the two of them, even combined, were nothing to the Word Devil. It took everyone and their abilities all united in order to really take them down. But just imagine something like, again, like when Naruto showed up to fight Pain, and just like that one man like turnaround, that could be something for Asta. But instead of it being like, yeah, we didn't like that guy, like, because they treated the Naruto like crap. It's like, oh yeah, that guy that we treated like shit for his entire life came up and saved everybody. I almost said with Deku. With Asta, it's more like, oh, that criminal that we all like saw was a horrible person. If he shows up and saves everyone, it would just kind of prove the point of that he was a good person fighting for the kingdom. That would I think that would be like a perfect way to both kind of like give some callback nostalgia, show that it's not doing the exact same thing, but there's still like elements of influence, but at the same time do something really well for the series. I think that would be really cool. But from this, they're all just going over like aspects like Asta's birth, like, well, not his birth, his where he was raised in a peasant king or a peasant town, back in Hage village. And with Sakura, they don't even have anything on her, because obviously she's from 500 years prior. They're talking about her horns and whatnot. We know that the horns are pretty much a proof of being touched into forbidden magic. And while Asta's trying to take their case, Damnatio just pretty much just tells him that either he's going to be judged as a demon, because obviously he's black form, and they're going to be used as scapegoats and all this, or the blame is going to go to the Magic Knights that were taken over by the elves, because again, they don't have any proof that they were controlled, which is unfortunate, because they should hopefully like try and talk to like any of the people possessed by the elves, but I guess they don't really it would just be like their word at that point. They don't have any proof of the elves, even maybe like eyewitnesses, but I don't really think that they're in too much of a heavy need for proof at this point because they have capabilities in order to do that. They have people that can, look into other people's memories. But I think it's much more of them trying to like take control of the situation and try and just kind of like build an idea to like settle people. And I feel like it'd be like, well, it'd be much harder to like prove like the word devil and like the elves' influence versus or for the masses versus like, oh, there was some corruption or there was one bad peasant. Like, all in all, Ossus is probably the smallest level of like panic that would cause. It's like, oh, some peasant with like demon magic went and did all these things versus like, magic knights were corrupted and taken over, or even just like, oh yeah, a bunch of them were trying to turn against the kingdom. So unfortunately for Asta, his is like the lowest possible like risk to everything. And I knew this was gonna get vicious because, well, they're kind of like, oh well, I guess if you didn't do it and this demon that we can't prove did it, but again, no proof, then we're gonna blame the people taken over by the elves. And they bring up Mary, Gosh's sister, and they're just gonna like, well, she was manipulated apparently, or she was just doing it on her own, and they're gonna just judge her normally, and they're pretty much going to just execute her. And there was no way Asta was gonna stand for that. There's absolutely no way Asta was gonna stand for that. I don't think any shonen MC would stand for that. I don't even think most seinen main characters would stand for that. I mean, you'll probably get like a couple out there that would just be like, I don't care. But obviously, Asta's going to step in, and he did. He went to his black form. He didn't care about putting on that form that everyone's going to look at, because now he's got this demonic appearance. He's got his big demonic wing, the horn, and people are just going to look at him as being, a demon like they were talking about. And I think that was really cool for Asta because, again, he's not caring about his own image here. He's not caring about what they end up deciding against him. He's just doing what he thinks is the right thing to do. He's protecting this kid who was literally going to get executed for something she didn't do, although she was related to, but obviously not her fault in any way. And this is a big thing, like I talked about earlier, because this is going to have to lead down a really like game-changing path for Asta and the story, because now he's going against their government. He's going against their entire political structure and their entire like judicial oh my god, words judicial system. Anyway, because now obviously he's just broken out of custody. Oh my god, I'm trying to like words right now, and I'm doing very poorly of it. Now he broke out of his handcuffs. He's not letting them confine him at all at any point, and he's now being extremely defiant. He's breaking probably multiple laws at this point by doing this, and that's going to have to lead down a road where Asta, like I said, a lot of people are predicting he's going to have to leave the country for a certain amount of time. This is probably going to what it's going to be. He's probably going to have to get the hell out of there. Otherwise, what is he going to jail him? So, I mean, we're either going to get like him escaping and going to do something, or he's going to go to prison, and we're going to get like a prison arc, Asta become a real thug. But I don't know. I mean, there's still ways that they could prove the demon, but I don't think that Tabata wants to do that easy of a cop-out. I feel like this level of event is to create a much heavier atmosphere and to lead down like a road, like I said, either prison or having to leave the country. I mean, he has the power to. I mean, he could literally just like leave the room, grab Sekri and Mary, and just like pretty Black Meteorite out of there, just have that like super speed stream of just like flying over the country and then getting to like the in between areas, and then maybe go to like the Heart Kingdom. The Heart Kingdom, again, I think it's either gonna be the Heart of the Diamond, because Diamond Kingdom has set up. Heart Kingdom is neutral and probably the safest. But tell me what you guys think in the comments. Asta's ready. He said screw this. He doesn't care about the rules right now. He's much more into what is actually right than what is in their mind the right path. But obviously, like any normal person, would be like, no, this is fucked up. You guys are all corrupted and clearly not in the side of actual justice. You're just in the side of imagery. and trying to blame people for things they didn't do just for the sake of public control. So tell me in the comments section below. Like I said, thumbs up the video, press the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. From that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.